with a fan altercation taking place in AEW last night and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for July 28th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. As Vince McMahon retired from WWE, Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are now the co-CEOs, and Triple H is the new head of creative, which has former WWE star Maria Kanellis open to a comeback. The wrestling world is wild right now. I always had a great working relationship with Triple H, and I know Mike Bennett liked his brief time on NXT. The right opportunity is always timing meets talent. If it's the right time, then it's the right time. With the potential for more stars to move from AEW to WWE and vice versa, Dave Meltzer touched on wrestlers gaining a bigger payday from a talent war. It's amazing what you hear, and that's, this is the move, and we're probably going to have, we're going to have a lot of moves, and I think some talent when their contracts are up on both sides, especially if AEW gets a good TV renewal. If they don't, it might not be as much, but if they get a good TV deal, WWE obviously has, hundreds of millions in profits. So there are going to be wrestlers that are going to be able to, top wrestlers are going to be able to get a lot of money on contract renewals. I know that the thing is, for the wrestlers, both companies, when they sign these guys, are going to want to sign guys for 5 years or maybe longer, maybe even in some cases 7 years. There might even be some guys WWE sign guys for 10 years in most cases, but mostly 5s. I think Owens was there, but I would tell any wrestler right now who is under contract and the contract's coming due to, if you're good and you have confidence, fight like hell to sign a 2-year deal. You're not going to get less than 2, but if it's 5, beg for 3. If you're a good wrestler, the more your deal comes up, the more you're going to be able to escalate your salary, unless AEW is out of business, which I don't expect to happen. During an interview with BT Sport, the Mysterio spoke about a possible feud between them. As Rey said, we actually talked about that during his first couple weeks of training. I remember sitting down with him and telling him, could you imagine if you started working and then we teamed up and eventually, whether I turned on you or you turned on me? Yeah, that would be cool. Over time, it's like, I don't think we can do that. Our connection has been so tight, from day one, the age of 7, and Eddie Guerrero and myself. I don't think that it would be, storyline-wise, it might be attractive, but I need to feel it at the moment during that time. Right now, I feel like we have a really tight bond, but it would be something special. Dominik would then say, where I am now, I would have never in a million years thought, 2 years in, I'd be former SmackDown Tag Team Champion with my dad. And when asked if he would turn on his father, Dominik said no, never. With Seth Rollins announcing to fans that he will not be appearing at Summerslam due to his opponent Riddle being taken out of the bout, Triple H would respond to Rollins saying, I hear you. Now in Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer has talked about WWE finding a match for Rollins. They moved Rollins versus Riddle to Clash at the Castle for whatever reason. That's what they did. And I got the impression from that tweet that it's like Triple H kind of baby-facing himself where he takes away a match and you're all disappointed. Well, injury takes away the match, although it's a worked injury. So he comes and saves the day, announces a match. I guess they'll announce a match on Friday, SmackDown, or tomorrow, whatever. Seth Rollins was talking about the heel as I worked so hard, I deserve to be on the show, and I really want to wrestle on the show. That was quite the babyface tweet too. So yeah, it's one of his first moves is, I guess, doing this and the other big move. Speaking of SummerSlam, PW Insider revealed that there were plans for the Rated R Superstar and the Glamazon. As they said, in our Elite section, we reported that Edge and Beth Phoenix were both slated for MSG, but then reported plans changed shortly after the Vince McMahon exit. The original plans had them slated for SummerSlam weekend, but there's no word whether that is still happening or they are holding off. As of now, rumor has it that Edge could be the one to face Rollins at the event. Following his time as a producer for WWE, Pat Buck would make his way to AEW. As he explained on the company's Unrestricted podcast, how he parted ways with WWE and appeared for AEW in the same week. Since AEW's inception, I feel I've had an unofficial working relationship with Tony Khan. It's always been interesting because I never really thought, after chasing wrestling so long, not having the TV contract sort of successful performer, that I would be completely working for myself the rest of my career, and I was fine with that. I started in 2001, 2011 comes, and I've been wrestling pretty much full-time everywhere, anywhere, but never really got that opportunity to really cement something. I said, screw this, I'm going to put on a show and become a promoter. Luckily, that worked out, opened my schools. I figured that was what I would be doing the rest of my life, and I was fine with it. If I want to wrestle somebody, I'll book them to wrestle. A poor man's Jerry Lawler, if you would. This is my area. I'm running 30 to 50 events a year in the New York, New Jersey area. I have these schools. Then my students started getting noticed a lot, primarily and only by AEW, even when I worked at my former place. It was the act of getting independent wrestling talent seen and getting into the system. They had different requirements. Tony and I value talent in a similar light. The acclaimed Chris Statlander, Bear Bronson, Mark Sterling. There are 6 or 7 of my kids that I see what they're doing and I think it's awesome. But I never had an official talk with Tony. A ton of people I've worked with most of the roster in some capacity, independents or WWE or somewhere. Sanjay Dutt, we worked not just in WWE together, we had a long-standing relationship before that, promoting and working shows together, producing shows together. I submitted my release on a Monday morning post WrestleMania before Raw. I was on the plane ride back and certain talent texted me, Tony would like to speak with you on a Wednesday. It was a short 12 hours, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 24 hours of going from one place to another, which is pretty wild, but it's the greatest thing that has happened to me. I assumed the moment I walked in, it's going to be out there. I also thought, and I think people would assume when I quit WWE, I didn't have this lined up. Did I hope in my heart that I'd be here? For sure. Did I hope Tony would recognize this and there is a thing there? I took a gamble on myself, and by what happened in being here, I didn't get out for quite a while. I was kind of shocked. That goes to show you the different kind of respect in the locker room. Even the extras booked that day, some of them I booked for WrestleMania and the shows a week ago. They walked in like, what the heck is this? Credit to our locker room for having that respect. It got out a couple weeks later, but it shocked me. With the roast of Ric Flair set to kick off this weekend StarCast event for the Nature Boys final match, Ric Flair on his podcast said that he's trying to get the former chairman and CEO of WWE to make an appearance. I'm trying to get him to come to Nashville now. I want him to roast me. He certainly has in real life enough. 80 seals don't draw. You stupid son of a bitch. Don't ever bring a lawyer to see me. I don't like lawyers. Who are these jackoffs? I started crying and so did the lawyers. When asked about bullying Paul White backstage, Bryan Danielson revealed to Robbie Fox, now I do bully other people. My targets are sometimes giants, only occasionally giants. I come in hot. I'm not coming in there to be soft on these guys. Sometimes I'll be on the training table or something like that, and Paul will come up to me and grab me in some sort of way, and I'll immediately, as fast as I can, try to armbar him. Not that he's a giant, but I am constantly trying to take down Jake Hager, because he's got a background. It's not like I'm trying to single leg Brandon Cutler all the time. Talking in the Absolute Geek podcast, CM Punk spoke about the walkout of Sasha Banks and Naomi from WWE, calling out those in the company who criticized the duo. Oh boy, people are going to really be mad about this. Sasha Banks and Naomi leave. They announced on SmackDown that gosh darn, we are so disappointed in them. They really let our fans down. Brock splits, comes back obviously. I think he worked the show. Or is Michael Cole saying Brock Lesnar really let these fans down? I walked out, they went on TV and called me a quitter. What's changed? What's the difference? You're going to attack these two poor women who had enough and walked out. They have bigger balls than everybody there. What's changed? There's nothing much that has changed. There are people that talk about it and people who do it. The people who lick the boots and have the audacity to say that about those two women. Cowards and bootlickers. This is ridiculous. Speaking about Triple H now being in charge of creative, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. revealed that the game could be petty when it comes to AEW champion and former WWE star CM Punk. He created the straight edge society. No drugs, no alcohol, technically no women if you're super straight edge. Hunter's looking him dead in the face, just gas to the gills, and drinks wine with Vince on the plane. And he just no-sells Punk's whole promo and goes, I don't see what the big deal is. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And he just looks him dead in the face like, go ahead and try to call me a liar. I'll fire you so quick. and Punk couldn't do anything. So that's why when Punk had the promo on Live Raw instead of taped SmackDown where Hunter had no control, like Hunter would blow live promos on a SmackDown, and to the Live House audience and would go, "Don't worry, we'll edit it." And he would just keep going because he was so gangster with it. But on Raw, Punk got a chance to kind of do his own thing, and he let his feelings known. This could be a huge chance for Hunter to stick it to him. I promise you, dude, Triple H is petty Betty. When taping AEW Rampage last night, a couple stars had to run in with a fan. After Lee Moriarty picked up a win over Matt Sydal, Stokely Hathaway got involved. When Hathaway and Moriarty were leaving, they had an altercation with a fan according to The Observer, as it's uncertain if it will be on TV. Following his neck injury from SmackDown months back, Big E has been out of action hoping to recover his fractured vertebrae. Speaking on the MMA Hour, the former WWE champion revealed that the company is covering his medical expenses. "I'm still getting paid. I have no complaints with the way they're taking care of me. I've been paid very regularly. My money hasn't gone down at all. There has been no expense either with my medical stuff." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.